Hello, Daphne here with another video for you. This one's titled The Faberge Egg, My Grandmother and My Mother. In the late 1800s, my grandmother and grandfather left Berwick, Maine, and traveled halfway around the world to Vladivostok, Siberia. It was there that my grandfather and his brother established an import-export business between Russia and the United States, and they lived there for years, only returning to the United States on only a few occasions. They managed to survive the Russian Revolution, and they didn't like the Bolsheviks too much, but my grandmother finally left in 1930, but upon her departure, she always mentioned how much she loved the art in Russia. It was just exquisite, and including Faberge eggs. Over the years, many of these eggs, most of which were created between 1885 and 1970, have gone by the wayside. These were so exquisite, they were given by czars to their czarinas, to high government officials and princes, and they were treasured by the people that saw them, and I can see why. The detailing and the designs were just plain exquisite. There's no other way to describe this artwork. But anyway, in 1906, my mother was born in Vladivostok, and my grandmother wanted to make sure that everybody knew that she was an American, so she got her two best friends to come over and hold the American flag over my mother as she was being born, to make sure everybody knew that she was an American girl. I just love that story, so typical of my grandmother, a real American patriot, even though she was living so far away. But anyway, after my mother died, I decided that I wanted to, well, let me back up a little bit. One of my favorite creative pursuits is needlepoint. And I decided after my mother died in 2006 that I would create a needlepoint in her honor. And here it is, a Faberge egg, designed by Lillian Shermore, an artistically talented Russian who immigrated to America many years ago. She was trained in the classical arts at a prestigious art school in her native country. Lillian was known for her great use of color and her scrumptiously interesting designs, which make this Faberge egg a really beautiful piece of art. So that has been entered into a show here in Fort Worth called Needlepoint Love Story, and I was so pleased at all the compliments I got on this piece, which I treasure, because every time I look at it, I think about my mother, her Russian connection, and how much she loved Russian art. So as the years went by, I decided that maybe I should also make another Faberge egg as a tribute to my grandmother. So recently I completed this piece, St. Basil's Cathedral, inside a Lillian Shermore egg, and I will be getting it framed any day now so that it can sit next to it can be hung next to my mother's. And every time I look at them, I'm going to remember my heritage and the Russian connection, because it was an enormous part of the life of my grandparents and my mother. My grandmother never left Russia until 1930, so she saw a lot of good times and bad times, but she loved the Russian people. She didn't like the Bolsheviks very much, but she did love the Russian people. Unfortunately, my grandfather was not with her because he had died several years before. So anyway, that's my story about the beautiful Faberge egg and how I connected with them to honor the memory of my beloved mother and my very beloved grandmother.